welcome to the United Community Channel. My name is Jack. This is your latest Manchester United news as we go into a massive week for Erik ten Hag and Manchester United in general. Is it a make or break week for him? That remains to be seen. Obviously, there's big pressure coming in on top of him after such a very, I won't even say bad result, because a draw against Brentford, I mean, was even a bit of a snatch and grab at that. But a really poor performance more than anything else. So the pressure is coming on, and we're going into a very difficult week. We've got Chelsea on Thursday, and then we've got Liverpool on the weekend. So the pressure is certainly coming on for Erik ten Hag. We're going to talk about that. Over the past 24 hours, we've heard big breaking news in relation to the new technical director at Manchester United. James Wilcox of Southampton, formerly of Manchester City, is being touted as being the number one choice, and it looks like it's going to be pretty much done and dusted. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. We've got an update on Mason Greenwood coming out from The Athletic this morning in relation to a potential return to Manchester United. So we'll talk about that. But as always, guys, get your comments into the comment section below. Smash the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. And yeah, let's jump straight into it. And we're going to start obviously with Erik ten Hag, and what a big week it is for Manchester United. Look, it was a desperately disappointing performance more than anything else. I mean, whatever about the result, you know, my reaction to the Manchester United goal was snatch and grab, and it was certainly snatch and grab. If we had got out of there with a win, I think it was still a snatch and grab, considering we got a point out of the game. Brentford scored with their 31st shot of the game, and that's just, it doesn't bode well for United and the stats and so on and so forth. It was a desperately disappointing performance, and it's one that we're not particularly surprised with as Manchester United fans this season. And that's, you can't get more damning than that, if, you know, from a fan saying that about your team. We just don't know what to expect out of this team week in, week out. Obviously, we've seen the amazing performance and result against Liverpool a couple of weeks before. And people have been mentioning, you know, international break coming at the wrong time. The international break comes at the same time for everybody. And I think that's the issue that I've got with that, I suppose, excuse more than anything else. It comes at the same time for everybody. And, you know, if this was an isolated incident that this squad put in a performance like that, then we could say, okay, then maybe you're right. But it's been reoccurring all season for United. It really has. Now, look, I mean, there are different reasons and different circumstances why that may be happening. I think, obviously, injuries have a big part to play in that throughout the entirety of the season. But, you know, we're getting the likes of Lisandro Martinez back now. Obviously, Casemiro was an unused substitute. He came on in the end, sorry. So, I mean, they're two very important players for United that you would hope can improve going into the Chelsea game on Thursday night. But I mentioned it after the game on the weekend that, I thought it was going to be, not impossible, but I thought it was going to be pretty much done and dusted, that we're not going to get top four and we're not going to get Champions League football, even going into that game. However, after the performance on the weekend and the result, I think top four is completely done and dusted. Like, if let's have a look at the league table here. I think are we 9 points off? Maybe 8 points off. Let's have a look here and see. We'll put it up on the screen as well for everybody else to see. We are currently sitting in 6th place. Yeah, we're 8 points behind Spurs. And yeah, we're 11 points behind Aston Villa. So we've got a game in hand on Aston Villa as well. So, I mean, it's near impossible for United to actually close that gap, you would have to say. We've got 9 games left. Our Spurs, we've got a game in hand on Villa. So let's say we win that, we'll be 8 points behind both teams. So, no, we actually won't be, because, yeah, let's say both us and Spurs win our game in hand. We'll be 8 points behind both. Our Spurs and Aston Villa going to drop 9 points in 9 games. They're not. They're just not going to. And that would mean if we are going to close that gap, that would mean Manchester United have a perfect run in. And that ain't going to happen either. So that's the big concern there. I think top 4 Champions League football is done and dusted. Now, Europa League football next season, I've been hearing some people saying, it might be a blessing in disguise for Manchester United and for the new Ineos group coming in, to try and get some young, hungry players into the squad rather than going out and signing tier 1 players that you would get if you were in the Champions League. I tend not to agree with that, to be quite honest with you, because I think what you get, if you do get into the Champions League, you get the best of both worlds. You do get the option to sign for example, Victor Osimhen's if they want to play in the Champions League. However, you still can go out and sign your young up-and-coming players, under the radar. The likes of that young kid that we were talking about with Boca Juniors, for example, maybe a Benjamin Sesko if he's playing up front, whoever the case may be. And I think being in the Champions League is a massive letdown. And not only because we can't sign, tier 1 players, but also the financial repercussions of not getting into the Champions League is massive for Manchester United and massive for any team of that calibre, with the money that, is generated by being in the Champions League. I think it is a big, big letdown. Now, talking about letdown and not getting into the Champions League, is that going to be the deciding factor for Erik ten Hag and whether he keeps his job or not? There's massive pressure coming on this week, and again, the criticisms have been there. A lot of people criticising what he's been saying in his post-match press conferences, saying that, sounding a little bit deluded, that, we should have won the game. Well, not that we should have won the game, but he has said that in the past. So, look, I mentioned it after the game on the weekend, and it's the first time I've wavered a little bit, in any way, to be quite honest with you, about my support towards Erik ten Hag. I want Erik ten Hag to be successful, and I do want him to be the manager. I want him to get a chance under this Ineos infrastructure. But I'm worried. I'm worried that he won't get that opportunity. I really am. When we look, and we'll get on to obviously the appointments that are going on in the background and the shake-up there with, CEOs, directors of football, technical directors, so on and so forth. They're making massive changes in the background, Ineos are. Now, if they're making massive changes in the background like that, why would they not do it for the manager's position? I just don't see why they wouldn't, And now this is all relative to how the season goes between now and the end. And, if we can maybe pick up an FA Cup, it will obviously ease the pressure on Erik ten Hag. I'm just, the more I look at what's going on at Manchester United, the more I think Ineos are going to change. They're going to change the manager. I just have a feeling they will. Now, there are counter arguments to that. Who's out there that we can actually get? Who's out there that's maybe a better fit for Manchester United at the moment? And the names that we look at when it comes to potential new managers don't really rile you up as a Manchester United fan too much, if I'm being completely honest. So I think that maybe plays into Erik ten Hag's favour a little bit. Again, I go back to what I've said before, right? There's two things that I will say. First of all, I've said this countless times now, and I will continue to say it. I hope Erik ten Hag gets time under the Ineos group with some structure above him to be successful, because I think he deserves that. I really do. And second of all, I go back to what I've said when Jim Ratcliffe first got the job, first took over as bought into Manchester United. I said maybe a week or so after it that if he decides to change the manager, I'm on board. I am on board with whatever they want to do. They have got my full support and backing with whatever they do for the first 2 or 3 years, easily. And let's see what they can do with this football club, because we've been mismanaged. Again, I go back to what we've said about players being moved on and the sentimentality aspect of fans. And we need to maybe get away from that sentimentality a little bit. when we're moving players on, we've seen before in the past players not wanting Paul Pogba to leave, for example, because they love Paul Pogba and so on and so forth. And we've seen it, Cavani, for example, Cristiano Ronaldo, all of these kind of players. You have to get rid of the sentimentality aspect when it's time to move players on, because it's right for the football club. And I'm going to bring in that same feelings when it comes towards managers. And I've been thinking about it over the past couple of days, and we look at some of the most successful clubs within Europe, for example. And the one that keeps sticking in my head all the time is Bayern Munich. A very, very well-run football club, with a lot of old traditions and a lot of, they try to do things the right way. They've got their own culture. They've got their own way of doing things, where, they want to do things right. They want to, have, good PR throughout the world, and rightly so. And I think they are a very well-run football club. They change their manager every 3 or 4 years. They change their manager every 3 or 4 years. They do, and they're successful. Now, I know whatever about the league, okay, in the Bundesliga, it's obviously, it doesn't look like they're going to win it this year, but they're successful and they get deep into Europe every single season. Maybe as Manchester United fans, are we a little bit hung up on the past and the vision and the memories of Sir Alex Ferguson being manager of Manchester United for 26 years, Matt Busby, for example, being manager for over 20 years as well. And I know that is tradition at Manchester United and it's within the fabric of the football club. But it doesn't mean it has to be the future of the football club. If managers change every 3, 4, 5 years, is it really a bad thing? We see it working with Bayern Munich. We've seen it work with Real Madrid. We've seen it work with Barcelona. We've seen it work with Chelsea. I'm just putting counter arguments out there because I would like to see a manager come in and stay long term, stay for 8, 9, 10 years. That would be the ideal scenario. And we know it bears fruit within the Premier League with the likes of Jurgen Klopp, Pep Guardiola. We're seeing it now a little bit with Arteta, even though he's won fuck all other than an FA Cup, which was Arsene Wenger's team. But we are seeing it bear fruit a little bit. So there are counter arguments there, which is getting back to the initial point. If Ineos decide to move on Erik ten Hag and get in a new manager, the sentimentality aspect is gone for me. I just want United to fucking win. I want us to get back to challenging for Premier League titles. I want us to get back for challenging for Champions Leagues. And if that means getting rid of a manager, then fuck it. Get rid of him. I don't want United to get rid of him. I want him to be the one to be successful. But if he can't be successful, and if the ownership decides that he's not the one for the job, then okay, let's go. Get in who you want. You're new owners. You've got new ideas. You're getting in new people behind the scenes. If you want to change the manager, change the manager. Let's get on with it. And let's fucking speed up the process. Because I don't want in 2 years' time to still be going, oh, Erik ten Hag still deserves time. Oh, yeah, I know he's just, we needed just to wait another season. Fuck that shit. I know. I want to get back to winning things. I want to get back to challenging for major silverware. That's it. So that's my sentimentality kind of aspect, gone a little bit. Let's see what people are saying. Neverwhere says, I know it should be a rolling till the summer thing, but honestly, if we get a seeing two of Chelsea, I'm not sure whether winning the rest would make a difference. Martinez was very shaky when he came on, says Darryl. Yeah, well, look, I mean, that's to be expected, coming back from an injury. He probably has it in his mind as well about about trying not to get re-injured. And again, you're coming on and playing in a team that is not playing well with no confidence. It's hard to stand out. Neverwhere says, it was far too soon to play Martinez, but really had no other choice. Oshin says, did I read there was a clause where he could be fired without payoff if he fails to reach the Champions League? Might be an easy and cheap out for them. I'm not too sure. I didn't hear that, Oshin, but if it is the case, then could be an option for him to move him on. I'd be disappointed to see Erik ten Hag go, but so long as it's not Vez or Waistcoat that replaces him, not out there who's available. It's who's out there, who's good enough. They're only available because no one else wants them. Exactly. Darrell says, it can't be sacking another manager, lads. The money's not there. Look at how much money has been wasted on sacking management teams. I agree with you 100%. Darrell, it rings true to me that if we do it again, then we're going to just continuously doing that. Well, look, the one thing I would say about this, and I completely agree with you in terms of sacking managers every couple of years, it's not sustainable. Sacking managers every 2 years means you're not successful as a football club, as a team. And I do realise that you've got to give one manager time. However, there can also be an argument, and this sounds very much as if I want Erik ten Hag to go, but I don't. I want Erik ten Hag to be the one that's successful at United. But there are a lot of arguments to say that, and we've seen it specifically with Chelsea over the last 20 years, where you get a new manager in, and they win the league that season. Mourinho done it, Conte done it. Did Ancelotti do it? I think Gus Hiddink even done it. So there are, arguments to that as well. They are few and far between. I want Erik ten Hag to stay. I want him to be given, I would like to see him given another 12 months, It doesn't even have to be 12 months. If he gets the players that he wants in the summer, and we have a good transfer window, and we, see the squad improve, then there will be a lot more optimism going into next season. And if the results don't improve along with the squad improving, then we know it's time to change manager. That's the process that I want to see. If the squad improves in the summer and we get players that we want to get in, and we continue to have these bad results and poor performances, then we know that, the performances are not improving with the squad. Something is going wrong in the background. So I think that's. But yeah, I want Erik ten Hag to remain for now. But anyway, guys, I want to move it on and talk about the I suppose the back room, the structure behind the scenes with Ineos. And obviously we've heard over the past 24 hours or so about Jason Wilcox. So Manchester United have approached Southampton about hiring their director of football, Jason Wilcox. United want to make him their technical director as part of the new recruitment team, and an offer equivalent to a year of his salary has been made. Now, there has been some other reports throughout the day yesterday. Southampton are ready to insist Jason Wilcox serves his 12-month notice period unless United increase their offer for the man they want to become their new technical director, similar to what we've heard about Dan Ashworth and Newcastle, and United are negotiating that deal as well at the moment. Fabrizio Romano then said there was reports suggesting that Wilcox could potentially go to Liverpool. Liverpool wanted him as well. Now, Fabrizio Romano was pretty steadfast in his reporting on it. He said Wilcox to United as a new technical director is a done deal. Everything is set to be signed. And then he also said then this morning, which was an update, no negotiations or talks taking place between Jason Wilcox and Liverpool as reported yesterday. He has agreed to join Manchester United as a new technical director, ready to be part of the Ineos project. It's just about when. No talks planned with other clubs. So there we go. And then Sky Sports have also been mentioning that Omar Barada wanted Jason Wilcox to form a crucial part of the new recruitment setup at United, to be guided eventually by sporting director-elect Dan Ashworth. These are all really positive things. And I'll go back to what we've said in the past. Competent people in important areas in Manchester United. And, it's very hard as a football fan when we see performances on the weekend to be positive. But hearing these kind of reports, I think you have to really, really focus on these. You have to try and forget about, and I know we love Manchester United because, of football, not because of, who the fucking technical director is. However, these are really, really positive steps. And they are steps that you will hope can bear fruit in the future. They're not going to win us the game against Chelsea on the weekend, or midweek, or the game against Liverpool on the weekend. But to have a little bit of patience And we have been very patient, in fairness. As a fan base, Manchester United fans have been, by God, they've been patient. And they've been waiting for this for a long, long time. We've been saying it. Obviously, this channel has been running for a few years now. And, we've been here before. Obviously, Jim Ratcliffe came in. And what we were calling for more than anything else was the right people in the right areas. And we did not have that under the Glazers. When you think about it, under the Glazers, it was Ed Woodward doing everything. How fucked up was the structure? And we're now getting, Omar Barada as CEO, Dan Ashworth as football director, Jason Wilcox as technical director. These are all really, really good people who are good at their job and will improve Manchester United in the future. So my advice to everybody and to Manchester United fans would be just have a little bit more patience. Because I think all of these appointments will bear fruit in the future. I really do think they will. I would like to see Erik ten Hag, going back to the previous discussion, I would like to see Erik ten Hag as part of this structure. It would be fantastic for Dave Brailsford, Omar Barada, Dan Ashworth, Jason Wilcox and Erik ten Hag to be, the structure within the Ineos group. That's perfect for me. It absolutely is perfect for me. Now, will Erik ten Hag have to give up some of his control? Absolutely he will. But will it allow Manchester United to be successful? Erik ten Hag will be the one lifting the Premier League trophy or the Champions League trophy if we are ever to win that under the Ineos group, if he gives up some of the control. Now these are all hypotheticals, so he will get the credit first and foremost. So, yeah, I mean, these are all really, really positive steps for Manchester United. Now, again, when it comes to Jason Wilcox, let's get it done as quickly as possible. And the reason why I say that is because, obviously, over the past, what is it now? It's a couple of months now we've been talking about it, but it's about Dan Ashworth, and we're seeing again today that Manchester United have given up hope of appointing Dan Ashworth before the summer transfer window. A couple of different reports coming out on this in the past day or so. United have reportedly lost faith and surrendered belief in their chances of having Dan Ashworth in place in time for the summer transfer window. Since Jim Ratcliffe completed his, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. United are also in talks with Newcastle over Ashworth, who is Ineos' number one target to assume the maiden sporting director role at Old Trafford. United made an official approach in February for Ashworth, who then proceeded to inform Newcastle that he wishes to leave in favour of becoming part of Ratcliffe's regime. Seemingly annoyed and angered by the situation, the Magpies responded by placing their executive on gardening leave. They are looking for an unrealistic compensation package worth 20 million in order to allow Ashworth to circumvent his notice period and start work for United immediately. And United have obviously made it clear that they're not going to be paying that amount. A recent report covered by the People's Person relayed that negotiations between United and Newcastle are at a standstill, and both Premier League outfits are bracing for the summer transfer window without having an organised sporting director in place. The Daily Mail have given a slight update on the 20-time English champions' pursuit of Ashworth and indicated that an agreement with Newcastle before the summer does not seem to be forthcoming. As such, United are keen on bringing in Jason Wilcox from Southampton as well. So yeah, I mean, this is it's not good news. I mean, again, I've had my say on this only as short as 3 or 4 days ago, and it doesn't make sense to me. I don't see why both clubs are digging their heels in, and it can be argued from both sides. From a Manchester United standpoint, okay, 20 million is an awful lot to be paying compensation to get a director of football in. However, how much will that 20 million save you in this summer transfer window if you don't have him in? If you do have him in, that 20 million is going to seem like pennies if he goes out and gets you some really good deals for players. And, as well, when we're talking about Newcastle, they're digging their heels in and they're being extremely stubborn by looking for 20 million. And they're going to also go into the summer transfer window without a director of football. So, yeah, I mean, like we're talking about, I mean, less than 2 months, I think it is, before the transfer window kicks in, the start of June. And time is running out. Now, again, we were talking during the week, is Dan Ashworth speaking with Omar Barada at the moment? Is he talking with Dave Brailsford, with Jim Radcliffe? I don't know. If he is, then, what's the issue here? I don't think there is an issue. But if he's not allowed have any conversation with anybody, I mean, a fucking WhatsApp group. I mean, is that against the law? I don't know. But it's concerning. And I go back to what I've said a moment or two ago about Jason Wilcox and, the structure changing, and it's brilliant. And United fans need to have a little bit more patience, for the new structure behind the scenes to bear fruit. This is going to test our patience again if we don't have him in and waste another summer transfer window. It's going to test United fans' patience again. And we've been tested way too much over the last 10 years. We really have. So the sooner we can get this guy in, the better. And the sooner we can... I worry about this summer transfer window. I think it can go really well or it can go really bad. I like the kind of reports that are coming out about who we're being linked with at the moment. We're not being linked with the in the past, the Di Marias of the world and the Falcaos of the world and, Cavani's and so on. We're being linked with genuine young talent. There's talks of the Boca Juniors kid coming through, Benjamin Sesko, Tadibo, Brantwaite of Everton, young players. And I'm liking that. And I think that is something that we're seeing coming from, the new structure behind the scenes. However, that could all just, it could all go Pete Tong if we don't have a director of football in place who can't go out and negotiate for these players. The director of football's job is to sit down with opposition directors of football, with, whoever it is, if it's with Real Madrid or Juventus or Bournemouth or whoever it is you're buying from, and work out a deal. We don't want to be taken to the cleaners again. The United tax, like we said. So getting the likes of Dan Ashworth in before the summer transfer window is vitally important, in my opinion. And I think the fact that he's not in place now is only hampering our preparation for that summer transfer window. Now, again, I go back to what I've said. I don't know if there's a little WhatsApp group going on where they are able to communicate with each other, and Dan Ashworth is going, look at this list of fucking 6 lads. Look. Go out and sign these lads. These are the lads you want. I don't know if that's going on in a WhatsApp group. If it's not, it's going to hamper our plans for the summer transfer window. I would like nothing more than, daily meetings going on at Old Trafford at the moment, in the boardroom with Omar Barada, with Dave Brailsford, with Dan Ashworth, with Jason Wilcox, with Erik ten Hag, all sitting down with a fucking big whiteboard on the wall going, these are the players. Yeah, right. No, I don't like him. Right, scratch him off. Bring him in. And we're ready to rock then when the 1st of June rolls around. We can be looking at deals now. Like I said it last week, Erling Haaland to Manchester United was done in the April when he signed. And it was just announced then on the 1st of June. Everything was done and dusted. So we can and should be looking at, bulking out the deals that we're doing at the moment. But, it doesn't look like we are. Maybe we are. I don't know. Let's see what people are saying here. Oshin says, define a good transfer window. More outs than in, ? Right players, right positions, ? Depth over replacements. Well, we need to sell more than anything else. Not more than anything else. But the first priority has to be clearing out this fucking shit within this United squad. It has to be. So, if we're talking about priorities in the summer transfer window, we have to clear the deadwood first. We have to clear them out. I'm talking, players that are on loan. Donny van de Beeks, Alvaro Fernandez, Brandon Williams, Jadon Sancho, Mason Greenwood, out. And then you're talking about Harry Maguire's, Scott McTominay's, Marcus Rashford's, Rafael Varane, if he's to go, Casemiro, if we can get a replacement. These are types of players you want to be potentially looking to move on. Now, you've got to be very careful, because if you're prioritising sales, You have to replace them players. So is it a one out, one in kind of transfer window policy where, look, we're going to get Todibo and Brantwaite, for example, if we're going for centre-backs. And behind the scenes, we know we're going to get them. Right, Maguire, Varane, fuck off. See you later. Jog on. Let's get you out. And that, frees up some space then on the wages. You get some money in for Harry Maguire. Happy days. Midfield, Casemiro, do you want to stay? I'd like to give you another 12 months. But if you don't want to stay, then, right, we'll cash in on you now to Saudi. It may be the best option for United financially to cash in on him now from Saudi Arabia if we're going to get 40, 50 million. You won't get that next year. Might be the good idea to maybe cash in, reinvest that then and go out and get somebody like a Onana from Everton, or the ideal scenario would be a João Neves from Benfica, who costs too much. So that's the priority, I think, in my opinion. But let me know what you guys think. Are United too big a project to take on a poison chalice? No, I don't think so, Oisín. I don't subscribe to the fact that United are a poison chalice. We are seeing, hopefully, and I think we're seeing the last days of a really poorly run football club. I think that's what we're getting now. I don't think Manchester United is a poison chalice. We've been mismanaged for well over a decade now. And I think we're coming to the end of that. When we're seeing the likes of Omar Barada, Dan Ashworth, Jason Wilcox, all coming into Manchester United, you would expect us to be run really well. And it doesn't take long to turn that around. They put in the right procedures, the right ways of running a football club. It can turn around quite quickly. I don't subscribe to the fact that United are a poison chalice. I think once we get people in to run the football club correctly, it can quite quickly turn around. That might mean you have to change the manager. If that's the case, all well and good. It'll take a little bit longer to change, the squad, because you want to get rid of the deadwood. But I don't think United is a poison chalice. Once we start getting run correctly, I think it will bear fruit. It might take a couple of years, but I think it will bear fruit eventually. FPL says the new hierarchy signings are really exciting though. Best in class. There we go. And Oisín says transfer window in 8 weeks. Need a plan in place to do business early. Absolutely. We're going to leave it there, guys. I know we have a small little bit to mention on Mason Greenwood. We'll get through really quick. The Athletic have been saying today that Mason Greenwood would be reluctant to accept the chance to rejoin Manchester United squad, as he still has misgivings over how the club handled his case. Yeah, I don't think they should be your priorities, to be honest with you, Mason. You've got your own issues, not to be worrying about what Manchester United are doing. I don't think Mason Greenwood should come back. I don't think he will come back. I think it would be a PR nightmare if he did. Again, I've said it before, Manchester United has been a football club historically built on doing the right thing. Morally, more than anything else, going all the way back to Sir Matt Busby. Bringing him back to the football club would not be the right thing. And goals are not as important as morals. And that's my opinion on the situation. And I think we could get some good money for him if we sell him, reinvest that into the squad. No one player is bigger than Manchester United, especially Mason Greenwood. So I think it's time to move him on, get money in for him as quickly as we possibly can, reinvest it within the squad. And let's just move on. If he wants to if he ends up at Juventus or he ends up at Atletico Madrid and he scores 30 goals in the season, who cares? As long as we've got someone scoring 30 goals in our squad in the next couple of years. And I think that's what we should be focusing on more than anything else. But guys, look, thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. Do smash a like on the video if you haven't done so already. Hit subscribe if you are new to the channel as well. Great to see so many people watching on Twitter as well. We've been going live on Twitter every maybe 2 or 3 days. We are live. Anybody on Twitter, guys, make sure you are subscribing to the YouTube channel, because we do the majority of our content over there. The link is on my homepage of the my Twitter account. Make sure you're hitting follow. on Twitter as well. But do subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's where we do all of our content over there. And I do appreciate it. We're on the road to 10,000 subscribers over on YouTube, which is fantastic. But I do appreciate it, guys. Thanks for watching. I will be back tonight from 8 o'clock for the news show. We'll get into everything in depth, as always, and any news that we've got between now and then, we'll talk about it also. But thanks for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you tonight. Take it easy.